What are the best remedies for women all throughout the cycles of their life? Welcome. Today, that's what we're going to find out on episode 45, Maiden, episode 46, Mother, and episode 47, Crone, in our Women's Health series. This for the whole month of March that we're exploring on Nature's Mysteries Medicine Show. So welcome, thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle Wildflower. I am a holistic health practitioner, clinical cannabinoid clinician, director of education at Nature's Mysteries Academy of Holistic Health, author of the herbal textbook, Discover the Essence of Plant Medicine, the 5 Principles of Life-Saving Herbs, in which it's a book and an herbal course that I wrote, and we're actually profile 33 different herbs. We go over growing, harvesting, storing, preparations, applications. Excuse me, there's over 150 recipes included. I'm also the founder and alchemist for Nature's Mysteries Apothecary, and we're celebrating over 20 years in business now with so many live video testimonials that we started a YouTube channel. We're over 100 now, and so folks really love the relief that they find from our products. And today what I wanted to talk to you about was some of the symptoms that women experience through the different stages of their life and some natural alternatives to the prescriptions that doctors prescribe, with not only debilitating side effects, but for those suffering with mental health issues, it could actually be dangerous. Now, I'm not sure whoever had the idea of giving a depressed person a substance that causes suicidal thoughts, but to me, that's no solution. Type BS in the comments if you're with me. You know what I'm saying? That's not a solution. Some folks say pharmaceuticals are just a Band-Aid, but that's not even just a Band-Aid. That's just plain irresponsible, especially for a child. You know, they've never tested any of these pharmaceutical medications on children because that would be unethical and illegal, right? So they test them on your children and then say, let us know how that works, you know? So and if something serious happens to your child, then they'll know that this is something that can happen, and they'll put that on the label as a side effect or a direct effect. That they call them side effects, but they are direct effects of the medication, and a side effects would be if you got any relief actually from it. I have a perfect example of this. I had a patient, we'll call her Rose. That's not her real name, but we'll just call her Rose for the sake of this story. And she had trisomy 18, which is a genetic condition that can cause seizures and abnormalities in the body. And this patient came to me because her grandparents had been given my name from some of their friends who saw me online. And they had been working with her doctor in Massachusetts who had suggested using a specific CBD-THC ratio for her seizures. And the meds that they were giving her were not working, so they figured that they would try CBD. And this is, years ago, probably like 5 years ago. And Rose is actually a miracle child. At birth, they told them that her parents that she probably wouldn't live more than a couple of years. And when I started working with Rose, she was 8 years old. So she is already a miracle child. And she would have, unfortunately, multiple seizures throughout the day. And we got her on a specific CBD-THC ratio blend. And before long, her doctor called me to congratulate me on lowering the amount of seizures that she was having daily. And she continued on this regimen for about 3 years with great success. And then she got a new doctor, and that doctor felt that she was taking too many medications, and so they actually discontinued the use of the CBD. Seriously, she was on probably like 7 different medications, and only one of them was plant-based, and all the other ones were synthetic molecules. and that was the one that they removed, right? And it could be that it was the one that they weren't making any money on, but I'm sure that that's pure coincidence, right? So anyway, the point is that there was this time when she got a flu shot and she got the flu and she ended up in the hospital, and it was very scary for her family. And it was actually when I was writing my book in 2019, I wrote about it in my book, and the doctors were like, we need to research this anomaly. This is, something that really needs to be researched with these kids actually getting the flu. And, to me, it wasn't a big mystery why she got the flu after getting a flu shot. But anyway, the point is that if there's anything that you can do to ease your children's symptoms when they're sick that is a natural compound, that isn't a synthetic molecule like an over-the-counter medication or a pharmaceutical medication, their immune system is going to be so much stronger for it in the end. I'm not saying that antibiotics don't have a time and a place. They do. But after a round of antibiotics, it's always ideal to take probiotics after. And there's a specified amount that should be present in the probiotic blend and for a specified amount of time, depending on the length that the child was on the antibiotics for. And for children's health, we don't always have to turn to pharmaceuticals or over-the-counter drugs. Many times plant medicine will do the job in a very gentle, safe, effective way and not cause any disturbances or imbalances in their liver or tax their liver or kidneys or anything like that. So if your child had a fever or something like that, belladonna, the homeopathic, is an excellent fever reducer. And remember, when your child gets so hot that they break a sweat, that sweat actually has compounds in it that can kill staph. So obviously you don't want your child's temperature to get too high, but some fever is good because it's literally burning out the pathogens, right? So there's no need to freak out if your child has a mild fever. We just want to keep them comfortable, make sure they stay hydrated, maybe some chamomile tea. Diffusing some frankincense in the room for about 20 minutes can be wicked beneficial for their breathing and air passages. If, they're having respiratory issues or they have a cough or something like that. Another great immune builder that I used for my children was echinacea. And it's true, even all through their lives, if one of them sniffled or someone sneezed or I felt like I could hear a little tickle in their throat or a cough or something like that, the first signs I would give them some echinacea, and I'd give them about a dropper full. Of course, it was all organic. Sometimes I had even made it, but you could find some at the health food store or co-op, and you just want to make sure that it's organic. And I would just give them like a dropper full and about a quarter of a cup of water. It is kind of bitter, but medicine that's not made to taste like candy, right? So take that, and they could always, you could give them a spoonful of honey after or something like that if it was real bitter, and the honey is real good for them too. Anyway, so you could do that about 3 times a day, and before you know it, they'll definitely be feeling better. I had 4 daughters. And definitely we turned to echinacea whenever they were sick, and we definitely had very satisfying results. I didn't have any children who ended up in the hospital when they were sick or prolonged illnesses. They have very strong immune systems, and I definitely believe that was the plant medicine that helped to build them so that they have a strong immunity. Now, if we're talking about an upset stomach, if your child's throwing up or they're nauseous, CBD or mint tea, whichever one you have on hand, will, if you give them some of that, then soon you'll see that they'll be feeling better. So CBD has a way of working on nausea that it actually, when you are feeling nauseous, it's a reflex that you're having to vomit, right? And so CBD actually blocks the vomit impulse. So not only is it helping to ease your stomach and bring your body back into balance, but it's actually helping to block that vomit impulse so that you don't feel so much like vomiting. And it's natural. I would always recommend making sure that you get it from an organic source. Hemp is a soil purifier, so it removes heavy metals and toxins from the soil. So if it wasn't organic, not only could it not help you feel better, but honestly, it could potentially make you feel worse, right? So you always want to make sure when you're using any kind of CBD product that it is pure, organic, and, you know, guarantee purity and quality for sure. So that's 3 remedies that you can use for common childhood ailments. Belladonna homeopathic for fever, and some chamomile tea with its gentle sedative properties and can help ease them into a restful sleep when their little bodies can do its healing. You know, when we sleep, there's a lot of healing that goes on. So if we can just help them to ease into sleep, then that will help them to get better sooner as well. We talked about diffusing frankincense to open up airways, and also it's a great disinfectant, antibacterial, kills everything. So that's great to have in the air, especially if you're like, you know, have multiple children sick in the house and you're trying not to get sick, or you have other children in the house that aren't sick and some that are, and you're trying to keep the germ rate down, then diffusing frankincense is always a great option. And I would recommend diffusing it for about 20 minutes at a time. It's not something that you would really diffuse all day long or something like that. And if your child had an upset stomach, then turning to some CBD or mint tea are great options to help ease that nausea and upset stomach. So now we're going to start episode 46, Motherhood. And again, thank you so much for bearing with us doing all these episodes in one day. We went on a crystal digging adventure in Arkansas, and I thought that I would be able to do the show in Arkansas, but we were on Mount Ida, and it's a spotty service up there. Sometimes I would have service, sometimes I wouldn't. I figured it would be better to not do the show at all and postpone it than do it and like keep losing reception, right? Do you think that was a good plan? Okay, good. I hope so. So thank you for bearing with me and your patience, and, you know, I appreciate you. So for episode 46, the motherhood cycle of life, when a woman is pregnant, the best prenatals are not only an option, they're a necessity, and the ones that you get at CVS those don't count. They don't even count. So they have to come from a health food store, a vitamin shop, or a local co-op. And you want to make sure that you are getting whole food, organic, fermented prenatals, right? So the fermentation ensures better absorption and bioavailability of the nutrients, and ensuring the proper nutrients during the gestation period is crucial to fetal development. So you really want to be as clean as possible, avoiding GMOs, emphasizing an organic diet with lots of fresh organic fruit and vegetables. You know, it's recommended that for just one person that they eat 5 servings, that's 5 different times a day, of fruits and vegetables. So, you know, just imagine if you're feeding 2, you definitely want to at least be meeting that minimum, right? And after delivery, if you have issues nursing your baby, whereas your doctor might be like, oh, you know, it's not working, we can recommend some formula for you, there are herbs that you can use to help increase lactation for women who choose to go that route, that I wrote about in my book in chapter 8, such as marshmallow and nettles. Those are 2, to name a few, that we discussed in the book. CBD is another excellent option for any kind of pain or nausea that a pregnant woman or nursing mother might be experiencing, because it does not have any psychoactive component to it, but it is a great pain relieving agent, and we talked about its ability to block nausea and the vomiting impulse. We got a great live video testimonial from a pregnant woman who had been experiencing pain. She hadn't been able to relieve it until she met us, and you can see that on our YouTube channel. And our CBD oil is raw. She had tried multiple products and nothing had really helped her. But our product is raw, meaning that it hasn't been heated. So it retains the CBDA cannabinoid. And CBDA is actually 1,000 times more absorbable by the body than CBD. So you would need to take 1,000 times more of another company's that wasn't raw to achieve the same results that you would with ours. And we actually have receptors for CBD, which helps bring our body back into balance on all levels, from temperature, glucose, appetite. If you have too much of one hormone, it'll decrease it. Not enough of one, it will increase it. And basically, it's like software to our bodies. It triggers healing on many levels, which brings me into episode 47, the Crone stage. Now, CBD is an excellent option for women hoping to balance out their hormones. I also have another great live video testimonial from Karen. I can tell you her name because she said it on the testimonial. And she was using our product, our oral drops, for menopause she was going through at the time. And it helped her so much that she said that folks like her family, people that were close to her that knew her, would say to her sometimes, have you taken your CBD today? Because they knew that how much it helped her. And if she was acting a little, off balance, then it seemed like maybe she needed a little reminder. So that's an excellent option. And what we recommend is microdosing. So that would be 2 drops in the morning under your tongue, not dropperfuls, just drops. 2 drops in the morning, 2 drops in the evening. And if you feel like after 3 days you're not achieving the desired results, then you could adjust it by adding 2 more drops in the morning and in the evening, one or the other. But you can't OD on it. It's non-toxic. There's no side effects. So we're talking about safe medicine. And our bodies produce cannabinoids, but we use them up because of stress in our environment. So if you were going through an extremely stressful time, you might need to take more drops than other days. If you got up to 20 drops in a day, there would be nothing wrong with that. And then you could just back off when things calm down a little bit. And many conditions are actually a symptom of an endocannabinoid deficiency. So actually everyone should be taking CBD oil, and that would bring everyone's body back into balance. We all have an endocannabinoid system with CB1 and CB2 receptors all throughout our bodies, regulating just about every physiological function that we have. According to also, so that was one thing that I wanted to mention. Another remedy that I wanted to mention is phytoestrogens. So according to Dr. Axe, phytoestrogens are plant-based estrogens that can mimic the effects of natural hormones that our bodies produce. Now, their effects can be controversial, so the research on their benefits or risks can seem overwhelming and conflicting. However, a large variety of research and studies have shown that dietary estrogens actually help some women during menopause by reducing cancer risk, reducing night flashes, protecting the heart, and making a decrease in natural estrogen feel less drastic. Red clover is another viable option recommended for menopause symptoms. For assistance with hormone replacement, it can be taken every day. But remember, dosages can range from 40 to 160 milligrams a day of isoflavones depending on size, metabolism, and symptoms it's being used for. I have more complete dosages in my book. But after 12 weeks, it was effective at decreasing menopausal symptoms and improving skin health, and effective for improving bone density, which is really important around that time in our lives. So for our motherhood, we recommended getting organic, whole food, fermented vitamins to ensure a healthy baby. And remember, the more vitamins you can take that are that you get directly from the source, organic whole foods, you're better. The vitamins that are in the prenatals are just backup that you're using. So we talked about making sure that you include enough fruits and vegetables in your diet every day, as they're high in antioxidants, inflammatory agents, and nutrients, all kinds of nutrients that boost immune function. We went over specific herbs if you have issues with lactation. It isn't easy for everyone, but it's definitely not impossible if it's something that you choose. We talked about the benefits of CBD and how it can help mothers ease pain, symptoms of pain and nausea, and how safe it is. And wrapping up episode 47, Crone, where we uncovered the importance of eating phytoestrogens and the benefits they hold for menopausal women, as well as how CBD can help balance hormones naturally, especially when complemented with red clover. Whew! A lot of information there, huh? If it seems overwhelming, my book can help you to understand it better. You can go to naturesmysteries.com to grab a copy for yourself. And if you're interested in learning more about these plants, the ways they work in the body, and how they can help people feel better, we'd love to have you join us in our spring session at Nature's Mysteries Academy of Holistic Health. It begins May 9th, and we have scholarships available and payment plan options. And if herbal medicine is something that you're passionate about, then we'd love to help you turn your passion into your profession. Remember what they say, right? If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And that's kind of how I feel. I feel very blessed to do what I do because I really enjoy helping people feel better and bringing information and knowledge to others so that they can empower themselves, so they have a better immune system, better health, better relationships, and a better life, right? If you have all those things in order, then there's no way that your life can't be better. So thank you so much for taking the time to discover the essence of plant medicine. Go to naturesmysteries.com and sign up for our spring session today. Take care.